Video games are great and movies are great, but it's no secret that the video game movie just sucks. Now, it's not gonna be easy, but there are a few ways on how we can fix them. So full disclosure, I'm not a gamer and I honestly don't even remember the last game I played. And if I'm gonna be even more transparent, I don't even know what Fortnite is.
You serious?
But I did play a lot of video games growing up, just like a lot of other kids, and I've probably played more than my fair share to know what I'm talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
The truth is, I know a lot more about the craft of filmmaking, and since I'm a movie buff, this also means I've encountered the seventh circle of hell, the video game movie. It goes without saying, but these movies are terrible. Not a single one of them has been universally praised as a decent film. Not one.
Is that true?
The highest Rotten Tomatoes score ever for a video game movie is at 53% for Rampage. Frickin' Rampage.
Son of a...
They're so bad that the late film critic Roger Ebert boldly claimed that video games could never be art and thus could not be turned into good movies. Hollywood has spent the last 30 years throwing A-list actors into these projects thinking that will solve the problem, but nope!
You were the chosen one!
I can admit that there's a strong argument to be made that maybe the reason video game movies don't work is because there's that missing layer of interaction between the player and the character. In a lot of ways, gamers have a much stronger connection to video game characters than, say, readers do to a protagonist in a novel because they can actually control what the character does. I mean, why do you think they named him Link?
Oh, I get it. It's very clever.
Now that being said, I don't believe that video game movies are a lost cause. Far from it, actually. In fact, I'm optimistic enough to think that we'll see a video game movie revolution in the near future. But how soon is determined on whether or not Hollywood actually fixes some things. Plus, the reality is that Hollywood's gonna keep trying to adapt these video games into movie franchises because they're franchises.
Show me the money!
If you look at the biggest Hollywood franchises today, it's overwhelmingly superhero films. Now, superhero films have been adapted from comic books for over half a century now, but were they always as good as they are now? I'll give you a hint. No.
Mr. President! Thanks.
It was decades before we really started to see superhero films come into their own, and of course there was one or two decent ones in the past, but they really didn't hit their stride until about 15 years ago. Now to me, this is the same pattern and trend that I'm seeing in the video game movie franchises. So it begs the question, what can Hollywood do to speed up the process? First, stop trying to make the movie look like a video game. This drives me crazy when I see filmmakers try to replicate the visual aesthetics of a video game. Movies and games have different visual styles, but Hollywood keeps trying to service the fan base by making it look like it's a video game. What that usually means is that the films consist of way over the top action sequences filled with goofy looking CGI and slow motion. Bottom line, if you want to make a good-looking video game movie, just focus on making it a good-looking movie. Number two, use creative license for the sake of the movie without ticking off the fan base too much.
Get over here! Get over here!
I think video game movies today spend too much time trying to cram in certain aspects that would serve as fanfare, rather than what would work for the story and the character. I believe it's better if you make a decent movie at the cost of ticking off some of the fans rather than trying to please all parties and coming up short. The truth is, you're probably not going to make everybody happy, so you might as well focus on what would make it a decent movie rather than whether or not it's an accurate adaptation. That being said, you can also make the mistake of straying way too far from the source material. Number 3, understand that not all video games would make great movies. I mean, does anybody really want to see a Tetris movie?
Of course!
This is probably a controversial piece of advice because I believe you can make a decent film even with the silliest of concepts. I mean, they did make a good movie about Legos.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lego
But we should understand that some video games are better equipped to make more compelling films than others. And this does lead me to my final point: find the right talent for adapting the game into a movie. It sounds obvious and oversimplistic, but if Hollywood really wants to create decent video game movies, they need to find the right talent to bring them to life.
Hire this man.
These should be people who not only understand the story and characters from the game, but people who are also brilliant filmmakers.
I want that lightning, I want those two explosions, and I've got to have more shots of the military. Right.
Now, if I'm being fair, most of the video game movies from the past had some sort of talent behind the camera, but most of them really didn't have any solid work before they went on to botch the video game adaptation. However, I do believe that we are seeing a new generation of filmmakers enter Hollywood who grew up playing video games just like me, and they'll be able to turn things around. Just please don't let me down with that Metal Gear Solid movie, director Jason Roberts.
It's one of the coolest scripts I've ever read.
Sweet.
It's awesome.
Now, most likely we're going to get more failures, but we're bound to get at least one Iron Man-like film that's going to kick off a new wave of video game movies. And when we do, I look forward to watching them. But until then, we can enjoy the fact that one video game movie did give us the coolest theme song ever. This is just my opinion, so if you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. And you can also check out some of our other videos posted right here. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos like this.